So, hi guys, my name is Casey Ann, and y'all can call me Casey. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm the VP Athletics of New College. My current program is Kinesiology and Health Sciences. And yeah, I'm going to start off with two truths and a lie. And if you know me, like, don't give it away, but already. So the first one is going to be I won a car. The second one is I won MVP for my high school's volleyball team. And the third one is I'm mentally strong. I'll give you guys a couple seconds to say it in the group chat or whatever. Yeah, so the answer is the second. I suck at sports, honestly, which is ironic because I'm in kin. But yeah. I would say that I'm mentally strong now, but there was a time when I truly wasn't, where I wasn't in control of my emotions and at a really low point in my life. And of course, if you ask my friends, who are truly the reason why I'm my best self right now, they'll tell you that I had my low days for sure. There was a point in my life where I felt like I couldn't turn to anybody, as I felt like I had very polar, extreme emotions, like high highs and low lows. Like there was a time when I was just going through the motions of life, and when I'd look back throughout the week, it was kind of all a blur. Like when Katy Perry said, do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting through the wind? Like I really felt like that. That was a joke. I want to make some bad jokes. Anyway, so a backstory. I grew up in Windsor, Ontario with my mom, and I would say my life was a bit chaotic because I had a dad who wasn't always around, and I had an older brother, but later in life I found out that I had two other siblings, and I moved around a lot and stuff, so it was just a bit all over the place. I was mostly raised by my grandma. My mom worked two jobs. My mom was my superhero, and I was her sidekick through everything. I helped her run errands and chores. I helped with translating and checking grammar and stuff, which is a struggle I know that all y'all people with foreign parents know. The upside is that I gained a lot of independentness from this. But being independent had its downsides too, because growing up I felt like I couldn't have emotions. I felt like I always had to be strong, and because I had to be there for everybody else. The first time I received counseling was in high school, and growing up I was always that girl who loved to laugh, but in grade 10 I was going through a really tough time, and one of my teachers noticed that something was different. And to this day I don't really know who that teacher is, but I'm so glad that they reported it anonymously to my counselor, because it really helped me in the long run. But yeah, only during that time. But my guidance counselor called me out of class, and they contacted me, my social worker. But they called me out of class, and they contacted the social worker, and it kind of all just started from there. And at 15, I saw a clinical psychiatrist and was diagnosed with depression. And then I was referred to a therapist to see each month. This didn't really last long because I was in high school, and having a therapist was weird. And so fast forward into first year uni was where it kind of hit me like a truck. Just like Tiffany, my initial program was biomedical science. And with this, on top of transitioning to being on my own, on top of having that freedom away from my mom, going through a breakup, struggling through school, I feel like everybody went through this. But yeah, that's where my mental health really took a toll for the worst. My emotions were so overwhelming that I felt like I would experience panic attacks, which is something that I learned in psych class is very different from anxiety attacks. But yeah, I couldn't breathe. I'd start hyperventilating. I couldn't feel my hands and fingers, and I would need someone else to calm me down. And I hated not feeling in control of my emotions. It affected me mentally, physically, and in my social relationships. I felt so small that other people had to help me in my life, and I don't know, I felt like I had to use other people to help me live a normal life, which sucked. So I took the initiative and took advantage of York's free counseling. And honestly, I have no shame in this now. They were great. The person that I saw was great. And I even went into those emergency sessions where you can go to a walk-in counseling session if you feel very distressed. All the counselors are super helpful and attentive listeners. But the only con that I had personally was that you had to reapply every single year, and you'd have a different person every year. And I wasn't comfortable with that, so I did the next best thing. And I went on Google and I searched up a therapist, and I picked the one who was closest to me. It was completely by accident, but she's Filipina, so I've been with her for 3 years now, and I feel like she can understand me and my like upbringing and stuff. Second year is also when I started taking prescription medications for my mental health, and she really helped me with transitioning into finding like the right medication for me. Yeah, I mean, like, the progression that I've seen in myself from before to now is tremendous. I can handle tough situations better. Like, I feel like I don't have any more panic attacks. I have the occasional breakdown here and there, about right before midterm, but I mean, like, who doesn't? Some cool things that I learned from therapy were like cognitive distortions. These are to help you detect patterns in the things that you say. I learned CBT, which stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. It's a type of therapy that I'm very familiar with that allows you to track your actions, because it's all connected to your thoughts, like a big triangle. Like, your thoughts affect your feelings and affect your actions, and that way you can just be more accountable for the things that you do. I learned something specific for panic attacks, and it's called 4-square breathing, or some people call it like the method of 5, where you can say 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you feel, 2 things you smell, and 1 thing you can taste. And that really calms down your sympathetic system. And I learned so many other useful things. I learned how to cope with my anxiety and stress in healthy ways, like through journaling, working out, and these things really helped me figure myself out and what I liked. Like, I really love physical and mental health, and that's kind of why I went into kinesiology. Therapy also helped me in my social relationships as well. Because I learned the hard way that you can't use your friendships as therapists. You can't use your friends as therapists. Like, that's a joke, but it's true. Because it's just so mentally draining for them to be the designated person for you. And of course, they love you, and they're not going to want to say no to you. So, like, it's just a lot for them. And at the end of the day, if you're not respecting that person's boundaries, and you're constantly seeking help from these friends, like, that's not a true friendship. A therapist is literally paid to listen to you, so like, there's no pressure, you know. Another thing that really helped me that I learned in counseling, is boundaries. I know some people can relate to this, but there was a time that I thought that true relationships and friendships meant that you had to be 100% with them. And of course, every relationship relies on loyalty and trust, but at the end of the day, who is going to be there 100% of the time? Like, you. Like, so why aren't you putting yourself first? So this is why I think that mental health and therapy is super, super important to destigmatize. Like, you can put on as many face masks as you want, but at the end of the day, if the things you do, the people that you see, and the places you go aren't going to help you grow as a person, you and my friends are the only people who can change that for yourself. Some resources that can be offered at York that could help you through this journey is SAS, which is Student Accessibility Services, which is pretty great now that we're in Zoom University, because they're very available and responsive. Open from Monday to Friday at 1 to 3 p.m. And yeah, feel free to reach out to them. And in person, if we ever go back, counseling is offered at the Bennett Center, like how I did counseling. There's also some external factors that you can check out, like Crisis Text Line. This is a suicide prevention service that's free. You just gotta text HOME to 741-741, and it's 24 hours. Good to Talk is also out there. Kids Help Phone is out there for ages 5 to 25. So those are good resources. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed listening, and I've shared some things about mental health in our Discord, so feel free to check that out. And if you guys have any questions about like therapy and medication, feel free to stay and reach out in private or something. I'll link everything down below. I already linked it in the group chat. And I'm going to leave you guys with this quote, and it is, everything I am made me everything I'm not made me everything I am. And I can confidently say now that I am mentally strong, because at one point in my life I really wasn't. It took me a long time and lots of therapy to understand everything I went through made me the best version of myself. I hope I inspired you to take action for yourself in some kind of self-care, whether it be physical, mental, or social, like even like coming out here and gaining some knowledges and sharing your experience. But yeah, stay wholesome. Thank you. Drink some water.